Welcome to Rathalos Watch. This is the 6th episode of Should X Monster Return to Hunter Wilds. Today we'll be discussing one of the most odd, infamous, and disturbing looking monsters, Khezu. As always, we'll delve into the monster in greater detail, covering its first appearance, overall reception, memorable aspects, visual design, combat style, and ultimately, whether it should return to Hunter Wilds. We'll explore how Capcom could potentially bring back the monster, what they should or shouldn't change, what new interactions they could implement, and how the monster could fit into the next generation of Monster Hunter in terms of mechanics and design philosophies. Without further ado, let's begin. Khezu is classified as a flying wyvern and is one of the original classic monsters, introduced in the first entry of Monster Hunter, when it was released on March 11, 2004 in Japan, and in September 2004 in the USA. Khezu prefers to hang out in cold environments and caves, often chilling on the ceiling by using its tail to creep up on its prey. They are nearly blind and rely heavily on sound to detect their prey. Hunters can encounter the Khezu for the first time in a 5-star village urgent quest called Shadow in the Cave in the Swamp Biome in the original Monster Hunter for PS2. But here in the footage you'll be seeing the Monster Hunter Freedom Unite version instead, which has exactly the same quest name. The quest simply asks you to hunt him down and slay him. Khezu is memorable for many reasons, but I would argue that he is most remembered for his bizarre and disturbing design. He is very creepy, and when hunters spot him for the first time, they weren't sure what to expect. Khezu is probably one of the weirdest monsters I have ever encountered in my monster hunting career. I really am curious what the creature designer at Capcom was thinking when coming up with this monster design. The designer either got inspired by something very unusual or just had a bizarre moment of creativity. I'm just gonna assume he was sitting down in a toilet and taking a dump while trying to brainstorm ideas for a monster. Then he looked at his pee-pee and Khezu finally became a reality. Khezu's head and neck literally looks like an elastic, veiny penis that stretches at will and bites you in the face. I remember being traumatized for the first time I had to fight this creature in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. No thanks. The size of this unsettling penis monster can range from the smallest gold crown size of 436.6 centimeters to the largest gold crown size of 1225.5 centimeters. I promise you though, mine is bigger, thicker, and longer, but please do not tell anyone and keep it a secret. When you fight Khezu, make sure to kill it with fire, as that's what it is mostly weak to. Being a shock monster, it's highly resistant to paralysis and can only be stunned for 5 seconds with a shock trap, so make sure to use pitfall traps instead. Both the head and the body of the Khezu can be damaged and broken for more crafting materials. I was never really fond of the Khezu, not just because of its visual design, but simply because I did not enjoy hunting it. It is one of those monsters that is either hated or loved, with nothing in between. I'd say I'm more tolerant of the Khezu than some other hunters, but I wouldn't really miss him if Capcom never brought him back. The majority of Khezu attacks are easily telegraphed. He's quite slow and doesn't do much. If you are standing next to him, he will start charging up while standing in place to discharge electricity that will knock you back if you come in contact with it, and it will also build up a paralysis ailment. Sometimes he will stretch out his extendable elastic neck to bite whatever is in front of him. He also tries to tail swipe similar to young Kuku or Rathalos by doing 2 side turns. Despite the fact that his tail cannot be cut because it's so short, he can still hit you with it, which is kind of annoying. Khezu can also charge up to spit out thunder waves from his mouth in front of him. If you get hit by that and have been previously hit with multiple electricity attacks, you will get shocked and stunned in place. Make sure you are not in front of him or make a run for it before you get hit. This is also a good time to strike if you're already standing at his side while he's looking forward and charging up. On occasion, Khezu will also plop himself up on a ceiling and try to attack you from above. The best way to get him down is to use a bouncing bomb or hit him with a light bowgun or heavy bowgun. That will work as well. Otherwise, do not stand underneath him, as he can jump down and land on you and hit you for a lot of damage. It's best to just wait him to get back on the ground if you do not have any ranged weapons. When Khezu is enraged, he will attack slightly faster and be a bit more unpredictable. He will even perform a leaping charge forward while pulsating with electricity. Basically, you have to be more aware of his attacks and anticipate moving out of the way quickly. He also loves to scream and sometimes even does it multiple times in a row, which gets really obnoxious. Make sure to bring high-grade earplugs. Overall, Khezu is not really that hard of a monster, but fighting him for the first time can be a bit intimidating, especially if you are completely new to the world of Monster Hunter. It's also worth noting that a subspecies, Red Khezu, was introduced in Monster Hunter G in Japan, also known as Monster Hunter Freedom in the USA. Red Khezu plays pretty much the same as his regular counterpart, but has an extra neck attack, resistant to fire but weak to water, and has a much more potent thunder sack. And last but not least, his attacks hit harder. Basically a Khezu on steroids. One last thing I will mention is that Khezu does have a related long-lost cousin by the name of Gigginox in the universe of Monster Hunter. He is the same type of a creature, a flying wyvern that's also blind, who lives in dark, cold caves and as disturbing as the Khezu, if not more. I will discuss Gigginox in the next episode after this one. So if you've been enjoying this series so far and want to see what I have to say about Gigginox, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit like on this video so it gets recommended to more people and we can share the good news. So should Khezu return to Monster Hunter Wilds? In my personal opinion, I wouldn't really care if he was brought back or not, but he is considered an OG monster from the very first entry, and that is probably the only thing he has going for him other than his disturbing visual design. It's also worth noting that Khezu appeared in every single generation of Monster Hunter. He was introduced in the first game in 2004 and made a return in every single mainline entry, with the exception of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne. His last appearance was in Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak, which were the last two releases, so it's not like anyone misses Khezu or that Capcom neglected him. As a matter of fact, he received much better treatment than other monsters we've discussed in previous episodes of this series like Congalala or Bulldrum. If you haven't watched those yet, make sure you check out the playlist or click on the title cards in the top right. If Khezu does return in Monster Hunter Wilds, I would love to see how they handle the cave systems and the kind of biome they will put him in. We have very little information regarding Monster Hunter Wild biomes and how many biomes there are and which ones are going to be included in the main game. The only thing we know right now is the fact that all of the regions are seamlessly connected. So I would imagine you can go in and out of caves and then end up in a new region that you haven't seen before. But I have no clue how long or how big these caves are. We're going to have to wait and see. Let's assume that all of the biomes are interconnected and you can go into a cave in the Windward Plains and come across a Khezu hanging on the ceiling. If you come out of the cave on the other end, now you are in the swamp area. I'd love to talk about environments, but I don't want to get off topic. Perhaps this is something I can dedicate a whole video to. Let me know in the comments what you think about this idea. One thing I'm 100% sure of is that Khezu will never be a part of a herd or some sort of a pack. It's a flying wyvern that likes to be alone, so the whole herd idea is not going to work for Khezu's return in Monster Hunter Wilds. However, I do believe Khezu has some interesting potential when it comes to interacting with other monsters in the world. It is a predatory monster, so it would be very interesting to see it attacking its prey from above the ceiling. If I'm being honest, Khezu was always a boring monster throughout the life of Monster Hunter franchise. I think that Monster Hunter Wilds can be the opportunity to make Khezu much more interesting and dynamic, but another part of me would rather have a different classic monster in its place or something completely new. Basically, I wouldn't really be upset if Capcom brings him back or not. Also, do not forget that Khezu managed to place in the top 32 for Hunter's Choice top monster rankings out of 228 rankings during the 20th anniversary. Top 32 is quite high, and it seems like Khezu does have fans that don't mind him coming back. If you think about it, he is an OG monster and has been around since the franchise's inception. I would not be too shocked if Capcom brings him back since he made an appearance in every single generation. What do you fellow hunters think about Khezu returning to Monster Hunter Wilds? Would it upset you if Capcom brought him back? What kind of changes would you want in the modern day version of Khezu? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and tell me which monsters you'd like me to cover in the future episodes. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe with notifications turned on. Peace out and happy hunting.